At first, it looks like a mirage, because there shouldn't be mountains here, not in the middle of the vast, treeless Great Plains, but rising out of the Oklahoma prairie is one of the oldest mountain ranges in North America, hundreds of millions of years older than the Rockies. These mountains existed before dinosaurs, before trees, before complex life even moved onto land, and somehow they ended up in Oklahoma. So how did ancient mountains form in the plains, and why does almost nobody talk about them? The Wichita Mountains look suspiciously like a national park, just without the crowds. They stretch about 60 miles across southwest Oklahoma, surrounded by hundreds of miles of prairie and farmland. They rise nearly 1,000 feet above the plains, islands of ancient granite in a landscape that's otherwise almost completely flat. It feels like God spilled a bit of Colorado here by mistake. But we know God doesn't make mistakes, so here's what actually happened. More than 500 million years ago, this part of North America looked nothing like it does today. Geologists believe the continent was actually in the southern hemisphere and was literally tearing itself apart. As the crust unzipped, molten lava surged upward through massive cracks, cooling into the granite and rhyolite that still form these mountains today. Then, everything disappeared underwater. Shallow seas covered the region for millions of years, burying the mountains between layers of cozy sediment like a warm hug from Mother Nature. But around 330 million years ago, the land violently compressed again. During an event called the Alleghanian orogeny, which sounds a little naughty, North America and Africa crashed into each other, and this event formed the Atlas, Appalachian, and Wichita Mountains. Before researching this video, I didn't even know mountains had orogenic zones. The Wichita Mountains were once as tall as present-day Denali, rising nearly 20,000 feet high. And then, time won. Wind and water slowly erased most of the range, stripping away the softer rock over hundreds of millions of years. What remain today are fossil mountains, survivors of a landscape that existed long before dinosaurs walked the earth. And of course, some people might disagree with that timeline. Today, these fossil mountains are home to one of the oldest wildlife refuges in America. Free-roaming bison, elk, and deer share the rugged landscape, along with Texas longhorn cattle, grateful they're on a refuge and not someone's dinner plate. Hiking trails crisscross the mountains, and visitors can kayak or fish in the lakes. There's even a scenic drive to the top of Mount Scott, where you can catch stunning sunrises stretching across the plains. At 2,465 feet, you won't get altitude sickness, but winds here can gust harder than an F2 tornado. Surprisingly, some of the most beautiful parts of these mountains were built by humans. There are 12 scenic lakes inside the refuge, created by dams built during the Great Depression, when workers reshaped the landscape by hand. Outside the refuge, things get a little messier. Fort Sill, a nearby military base, conducts live fire exercises, so yes, you might hear the occasional boom while hiking. And surrounding ranches and quarries continue raising cattle and mining granite that may eventually end up on your kitchen countertop. Even with human activity, the Wichita Mountains feel otherworldly, mainly because they are so unexpected. They look like they belong in neighboring New Mexico or Colorado, not the Great Plains. These mountains remind us of the deep history beneath our feet, Earth shaped over hundreds of millions of years. And somehow, almost everyone drives past them without even knowing what they are. Which is a shame, because these mountains aren't just ancient geology. They are the site of one of the most important and successful environmental experiments in American history. And that story deserves its own video.